Hello all, Sique here, and welcome back to the path to Unpunishable. Today we're going to cover card 23, the Flamekeeper. Now this is different from the light bearer because the light is that internal flame, right? It's the one that lights you up from the inside out. This one, the Flamekeeper, is, I wanted to say from the outside, but it's actually how it's seen from the outside. How you're seen. This is externally. And when you become unpunishable, you draw a lot of attention. And you have to figure out how to manage that. How to train your nervous system so it could accept a lot of attention and even scrutiny. And so, let's talk about it, because the Flamekeeper, it's not hidden. And that's the difference between this card and the Light Bearer. By the time you arrive here, you've been seen. Not that you asked for it, but because a steady flame always draws attention. People notice when someone cannot be punished. They can feel it in their bodies before they understand it with their minds. And some, in some cases many, of them will test you. Not because you've done anything wrong, but because defeating someone that's unpunishable feels like a prize, a way to restore the old order, a way to prove that freedom is temporary and it's fragile and it's false, and as a warning to ones who might try to live freely, to be flame keepers in their own life. Flamekeeper is aware of this, and that's why this card matters. Because visibility is often misunderstood. And I'm talking to myself more than anyone else because I am an introvert. And I know how to speak and how to carry myself. I'm still getting used to being known, right? People will mistake your flame, your natural attraction, all that, for attention seeking. And they will confuse your presence with invitation, especially if they're greedy for whatever it is they see in you that they want. They will assume that because you're visible, you are available. And because you are steady, you are challengeable. And that's because when you're free, people feel like they want to test you, and you must be tested. Visibility brings this, and you have to be ready for it, or else it becomes chaos. This card teaches that purpose is a fire, not a spotlight. Spotlight demands performance. A fire demands care and discipline. And once others see your flame, there's no reason for you to show how strong you are. That's not your work. That's not your ministry. Your ministry is no longer to prove its strength. Your work is to ensure and protect its continuity, to make sure it keeps going. You just keep the fire burning. And yes, this is about keeping the flame alive. It sounds so corny. But it's also how to grieve it when somebody blows it out. Or you have to blow it out. Because you've learned something and it just takes you down. It's learning how to start another one. Of something or someone manages to put it out. And the storms that you will encounter, because you are unpunishable, they don't always arrive as violence. Sometimes they arrive as challenges, bait, admiration with teeth, a little bite, or a curiosity that wants to turn into control. People will push and they will probe your boundaries. They will try to provoke a reaction, a mistake, a collapse, anything they can point to and say, see, no one lives for free. No one lives without our punishment. The Flamekeeper refuses the game. They don't escalate. They don't have to perform strength. They do not have to accept the premise that their worth must be proven through endurance. They shield the flame, adjust their stance, and they let the storm pass. Like I said earlier, I'm an introvert, and when people meet me, they often find it strange that I am an introvert. But the thing is, I love my own company. I enjoy being around people, but it drains me. Not because I don't want to be around you or I dislike connection, but because there's almost always someone who feels compelled to challenge me. And for a long time, I didn't understand this pattern. I thought it was something I was doing wrong, something I needed to fix, something I needed to soften, or something I needed to explain away. And then that fell way to protecting myself because someone was going to take it away, because they have over and over and over and over again. I've told those stories already. But it wasn't until I started my essentialism phase in about 2022 that I finally saw it clearly. I don't satisfy some people's urge to control and punish. And that realization changed everything. I mean, I knew that, but it just solidified. It was the point where I became the witness. It was that point where I could just stop and look at it and see what was happening. And that realization changed everything. Because I spent years trying to get people to stop. I tried years to get them to see me as human. Trying to earn basic decency through over-explanation, accommodation, and so much emotional labor. But now the goal is different. The goal is to remove anyone who has shown consistently and clearly that they will never treat me the way I need to be treated. Not out of anger or revenge, but out of stewardship. That is the work of the Flamekeeper. And so, how do we see this through the lens? Empathy is where remembering how many times you were made visible without your consent, and how often being seen came with a cost. The Flamekeeper does not shame themselves for flinching. They learn how to stand without burning out. Truth is knowing that the flame never needed permission to exist. It does not burn brighter when it's challenged. It doesn't need to be challenged to burn brighter. It simply burns. It burns everything that it is not the truth. And it requires you to look at it. And the thing it does best of all is burn the things that are no longer needed. And when it's tended, Kindness is choosing not to harden just because others are watching. It's refusing to turn your purpose into armor or a spectacle. Because the internet is a dirty place. It's a dangerous place. As is earth, as is living. But knowing that they cannot touch you, that they cannot punish you, it allows you to be free and to be open. You'll see that as we go into my Essentialism series, where I'm just going to clean my house, and you're going to see how all of this has affected my ability to keep my house. And it isn't spectacle. It's simply understanding the truth. And I'd like you to understand me. Anti-greed is recognizing when someone wants your flame as a trophy. When engagement would feel like their hunger rather than your life. The number of people who've come into my life just to find out more about me compared to the people who are in my life because they like being around me is staggering. It's just staggering. But the Flamekeeper does not offer this fire to those who want to prove they can extinguish it. You don't get to do that. There are consequences. And then I'm just going to build it again. Joy lives in the steady glow that remains after the test passes, and knowing that you didn't shrink, you didn't explode, and you didn't abandon yourself just to end the pressure. The Flamekeeper understands that being unpunishable does not mean being untouchable. It means being uninterested in contests that cost you your peace. I'm not in competition with anybody except for myself. And I am the best at what I do because I strive to be at my best and get better day by day. Understanding that not every day is going to be an S tier day. Not every day is going to be an A day. Sometimes it's going to be a D day. But we strive to do our best. Sometimes that's a D. And figure out ways to be better the next day. This card teaches discernment while you're under observation. It teaches you that you do not owe explanations to people who want to measure you. That not every challenge deserves a response. That the absence of reaction is sometimes the strongest signal you could send. It teaches that survival does not require spectacle. That purpose is not proven by how much you can endure, but by how well you preserve what truly, truly matters. The Flamekeeper teaches that being seen does not mean being available. And on the path to Unpunishable, the Flamekeeper appears after the witness because your freedom will be well observed. People will see it. And once people observe your freedom, the work changes. The danger is no longer self-betrayal. It is depletion. It is being drawn into contests that drain your time, your energy, and your spirit. The Flamekeeper is the one who says no to those contests. They tend what gives them joy. They tend what lasts. They protect what is sacred. And they understand by doing this, by being consistent, continuity. It develops continuity, and that is a form of resistance. And with that, I'd like to leave you with this word. May your flame remain steady under watchful eye. May you recognize tests for what they are. May you refuse every contest that costs you your peace. And may the fire you tend outlast every storm sent to prove it should not. Amen. Talk to you soon.